Senator Brown.
Thank you, Senator Hatch. Thank you for your leadership. I sit in this committee way down over there, normally with Senator Hatch, and it's an honor to serve on his committee in the Senate, and I appreciate his integrity and longtime leadership. Thanks to my partner, Representative Neal, and the work that he's done on pensions, and so many on this committee on both sides of the aisle have done so much, especially Senator Portman, my colleague in Ohio, who shares my convictions on this critical issue. Thanks to all of you in your interest for stepping up. Some of you I don't know as well as others. I have reaching out to all of you, regardless of both parties, both houses, and will continue to. And I appreciate Senator Hatch's coming into this saying it's important to listen to every member so that we can assemble a strong majority on both sides and move this legislation ultimately onto the Senate and House floors. It's not a partisan issue. We know that. Teamsters, mine workers, iron workers, carpenters, bakers, so many other Americans are at risk of massive cuts to the pensions that they've earned. Small family businesses that have been operating for generations, Rob and I have dozens of those in our state, are at a risk of bankruptcy through no fault of their own. If they fail, they take thousands of jobs with them. My colleagues on both sides of the aisle understand the need to work together in good faith to keep the promise made to these workers. It's what I know we're going to be able to do in this committee. The committee's been given extraordinary powers. We need to lock arms and work together to reach a solution for workers and businesses who did things right. They are not asking for a handout or a bailout. They're just asking for what they earned. My friend Mike Walden said it best. Mike served our country first in Vietnam, again for decades, as a Teamster, now as head of the National United Commission to Protect Pensions. He said, I've never asked for anything from this country, but I don't want to see things taken away, something I've worked hard for and earned. We know what will happen, and this is really the critical point of my statement and I think our mission. We know what happens if we don't solve this. Millions of Americans will have their retirement security yanked away from them. Small business that participate in these plans could go bankrupt. The jobs of current workers at those businesses will be lost. That's why the Chamber of Commerce is so interested in this, and they released their new principles this morning. Quote, it's critical to have a program that restores the solvency of critical and declining status plans while protecting the U.S. economy as soon as possible. Unquote. The Chamber notes the multi-employer pension system contributed $2.2 trillion in economic activity to the U.S. economy in 2015. If we don't reach a solution after all the devastation and all these lives upended, taxpayers will then be on the hook for tens of billions of dollars to the PBGC. This committee gives us the opportunity to avoid all that, to protect businesses and workers and taxpayers in the Main Street economy. The reason we're here today is because of the retirees and the workers and the small businesses all over this country who came to see probably everybody on this committee and have been for years, especially to Representative Fox and Representative Scott, who in their leadership positions have been at the forefront of this. And I know the impact they've had by keeping this issue in front of the American public, in front of this Congress. I've spent a lot of time individually with these folks, business people and mine workers and Teamsters and other workers who will see pension cuts. I spent time with Ohio businesses who have done everything right but are being punished because their business thrived while so many of their competitors failed. Those small businesses can't publicly say what keeps them up at night for the fear that if the multi-employer pension plan that they are part of fails, their business will fail. So they keep pretty quiet about it publicly and talk to us. They can't tell their customers or their workers, or most importantly, their creditors, without risking the businesses they've worked so hard to build, often through several generations. The fact remains, generations of jobs and hard work will be laid to waste overnight if we fail this mission. We have the power to fix this together and bipartisanly. I spent time with people like the incredible grassroots leader in this fight, as I mentioned, Mike Walden, also Rita Lewis. Rita's late husband, Butch Lewis, was the head of Local 100 and Senator Portman's, the community he grew up in, Cincinnati and Evendale, actually. He passed away while fighting for the retirement his fellow workers earned. Rita says, it's like we're invisible. Well, she isn't invisible to us in this committee. We see the impact this issue has on the economy and the people we serve. I spent time with people like Ed Barker in Youngstown. who's told me we did our part, now it's time for members of Congress to cross party lines and do our part. That's exactly what I hope we can do over the course of this year. I look forward to working side by side with Co-Chair Senator Hatch and each one of you on a bipartisan solution. I come to, as I've talked to a number of you and called all of you, I come to this with an open mind, ready to listen, ready to work. I know my fellow committee members do as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.